time of year. Jamaica, a popular destination for holidaymakers who want to escape perhaps the dreary January weather we're seeing in the UK. But now the Foreign Office has warned tourists not to wander away from their resorts on their own.
More than 200,000 British tourists visited the country in 2017. Most of them travelled to the popular resort of Montego Bay in the northwest of the island.
There has been an increase in crime recently. There was an average of 6 murders a week in the area last year. And on Thursday, the country's Prime Minister declared a state of public emergency and has sent troops out on the streets to deal with what he called general lawlessness.
With us now, travel journalist Simon Calder. So, Simon, just put those statistics in some kind of perspective for us, because this is a very dangerous place.
Well, Jamaica, a wonderful island. I've been lucky enough to travel there several times. Great people, fantastic culture, wonderful scenery, and of course tremendous beaches. But it does have an extraordinary problem with crime and in particular murder. The murder rate is 50 times the murder rate in Britain. It's 10 times the murder rate in the US relative to the population. And this state of emergency was declared effectively to try to clear things up in the area around Montego Bay, which has seen the greatest increase in lawlessness.
How visible is this lawlessness to tourists? And I mean, by that I mean, obviously there are lots of resorts, but then you like to travel out and about, but perhaps you don't see these sides of countries when you're travelling out about.
Well, certainly there are parts of Montego Bay, there are parts of Kingston, the capital, where you are simply advised never to go, and there's other parts of the island where you're told just be careful, go there in daylight, be with other people. So it's very unlikely that as a tourist you would actually be at the scene of one of these awful killings. However, the Foreign Office is sufficiently worried because of the state of emergency to say something which I've not seen it say before, which is effectively, previously they'd say either go to a place we think it's okay or don't go, and if you don't go your insurance is invalid. But now they're saying go there, but stay within you're confined to barracks unless you're travelling out on an official excursion or going to and from the airport.
What then if you don't do that? If you choose to go walk about, go to town, have a cup of coffee, have a drink somewhere? What are the implications of that?
Well, if you look at Montego Bay itself, you've got this road called the Hip Strip, actually officially called Gloucester Avenue, and it's full of cafes and bars and hotels and restaurants. And talking to people who've just returned from there, it's business as usual there. If you did decide, though, I'm going to look at the wonderful Georgian architecture in downtown Montego Bay, you would be taking a risk. I'm still trying to establish if your insurance would be invalidated. I don't believe that it would be, but the Foreign Office is saying, look, if you did go anywhere kind of off limits, then you're facing potential problems.
Can you give some snappy answers to a couple of tweets that have come through? Does this affect other resorts? Rosemary's asking.
OK, well, the state of emergency only applies to the area around Montego Bay, so if you're going to Negril in the west or Ocho Rios in the east, then you should be OK, bearing in mind that there is a fair amount of crime. You need to watch out for that.
One from Adam saying, how can holidays continue? I mean, it's quite a fair question, isn't it? If you're about to go there, listening to what you've said this morning, you'd be thinking, what if I just decide that I don't fancy going to a place where there's a state of emergency?
Well, I'm afraid the tour operators I've talked to say normal terms and conditions apply. Most of the people who are going there are going on all-inclusive holidays. They will be within the resorts. And at the moment, there is no scope to change your destination or cancel without penalty. And worth saying, there's still holidays on sale. Flying from Gatwick on Friday or Manchester on Saturday. Some pretty good prices from TUI.
Got to pick your brain about the American shutdown, the government shutdown. How's it going to affect us in terms of, passports, visas as well?